Um, how do you think your life has been shaped by your experience in the Holocaust?
Well, I definitely think that it had a big effect. I think I'm probably a happier person than a lot of people because I appreciate things more. I don't take anything for granted. I have been blessed with a wonderful husband and a son and two wonderful grandchildren. And I definitely think that my past had a lot to do with it, that I can look at things in a more positive way, and any obstacles that arise, I can face them and try to work them out as well as possible. And I try to do it by myself, on my own, by talking to myself. And that's why I feel that this was perhaps the greatest benefit from living through it and having compassion. I think that's what my experience has taught me, to have compassion for people and to go on in life no matter what, because life is worthwhile living, even though we may not see it sometimes that way. But eventually there comes a time when we realize that it was worthwhile struggling and to reach a certain plateau in life, or to achieve certain things, and most of all to be useful to society. And of course I'm very grateful to this country for giving me the opportunity to live as normal a life as possible, way beyond what I ever expected when I was in the ghetto or in the camp, or even in the beginning when I came to the United States. So I'm always very, very grateful for that, and always will be.
How have your feelings about being a Jew evolved
Here in the United States?
from the time of the war?
Well, I was brought up in an Orthodox home, and I always felt very strongly about being Jewish and about living a Jewish life. And that's why it was very important to us. We sent our son to a private day school, and our grandchildren now are attending Sunday school, and we hope that they'll always remember their heritage. They never had an opportunity, my son never had an opportunity to meet the grandparents on my side. He was able to meet the grandparents on my husband's side, but I just want my grandchildren to know that they have a Jewish heritage, and hope that they will continue in the same vein, and that would be very important to me once I'm gone. I'm glad our son carries the names of my parents. He's named after my father and my mother. His name is Michael Dov, Dov for Dvora. And my grandchildren carry on the names of my siblings. Jeremy Sean is named after my older sister and brother, and Evie has my younger sister's middle name, Rachel. And I feel that through them my family lives on.
Did you question why this was happening to the Jews? Did your feelings about your belief in God ever waver?
Oh yes, yes. I remember right after the war, I mean, I said, where is the God? How could he do something like this? How is that possible if there was a God to do this to my parents and siblings and the rest of the family? We were a big family of aunts and uncles and cousins. And it was not easy. It was not easy at all to reconcile with that fact. I was very much torn. But as time went on, and as I was beginning to make some accomplishments on my own, I felt this was a happening that happened to millions of people. It didn't happen just to me alone. And for some reason I was able to reconcile that there must be some reason why this happened, and I have to go on believing that there is a God, and there was a reason why I remained, because otherwise there would be no reason. And I definitely feel that there was a reason for me to remain, to remember my family. And this tape is going to be like a tombstone for them, a memory. For the future.
Do you have thoughts about why you survived, how you survived?
Absolutely not. No explanation, no reason. I think I survived just by pure luck, just being in the right place at the right time, or just being lucky. Today I feel I was lucky. In those days, as a matter of fact, this is what I wrote in my diary, that I felt that it was more of a punishment for me to remain alive after the war. That I would have been better off if I would have gone together with the rest of the family, because there was no reason for me to live. But of course, you know, like I said, I guess there must have been a reason, and so.
And that
here I
reason?
am. Again, I have to say, my husband, my son, my grandchildren, they are my world.
Have you been back to Europe?
No, I would never want to go back. Have no desire, no feelings at all.
What do you feel today about the German people?
I can't really say that I'm holding a grudge against all of them. It is not fair. Of course, they were the ones that committed these crimes. For them, I have no forgiveness. But I can't blame the ordinary people today of what happened in those days. I can't.
Do you buy German products?
Not really. No. I try to avoid it. But I have some things in my house that were made in Germany. It's not that I feel a hatred. I guess I'm just not the kind of a person that hates. I don't have hate in me. even though it hurts what had happened, and it happened because of them, but those were, I hate those maybe that did it.
But you don't
But
blame the whole German race.
No, I can't. I can't do that. I can't do that. Maybe it's also because of my background, because I remember the Poles used to say, we hate Jews, but you are a nice Jew. I like you. I don't mind you. And so it's like you can't hate a whole race for something that some of them did. I mean, that's my personal feeling. I know some of my friends don't feel that way.
How about the Polish people? What is your feeling about them?
Well, again, the same thing.
And the Ukraine?
I feel that people are people. There are good ones and there are bad ones. And of course, I hate the ones that hate us. That's the only thing I can say, because there's no reason. And but going back to, as far as going back to Poland, I have absolutely no desire to go back to my hometown. First of all, it's not anymore what it used to be. It would only create bad memories. First of all, it's 50 years. It's a lifetime. I know people that went back, couldn't even recognize the place because it has changed so much. And there was nobody there. Maybe if there would have been a graveyard, maybe I would have gone to see it. There's nothing. I have no desire. None whatsoever.
You said that there were signs that perhaps in looking back you could read. What would the signs be today to alert people toward a growing anti-Semitism?
Well, first of all, the fact that there are still some people that say that Holocaust never happened. I remember our son was in college the first year. He was at Northwestern University, and there was a Professor Butts that wrote an article. It was the first time that I heard that the Holocaust never happened. I was so upset. I called him immediately, and I told him to go to him and tell him about me. And if there are still people that can say these things, we have to be very much aware of that for the future, that no one should ever say this, and that we have to prove to them that it did happen and that it should never happen. And so these are first and foremost signs of people denying it, and also trying to put blame on other people for things that are happening today. We have to be very much aware that no one should ever say that these people or other people deserve to be exterminated, because we are all people.
Is there anything else that you would like to include before we get to your pictures and other mementos that, in thinking about this interview, that we left out, that you'd like to add?
Well, I think I have answered most of your questions and told you anything that I would have wanted the future generations to know, especially my grandchildren. If they could read Polish, they could read some things from this diary that I started to write.
Could you read
Wasn't
us
that much?
Could you read us the first sentence of that diary?
Well, it says that sitting one day, I started to write on a piece of paper from about my memories, and then that was when I made the decision to write this diary, which will be very written in chaotic chaos, because and it is going to be written about my memories from 1941 until 1944, when the Red Army liberated me. I'll try to write whatever I remember, but this is, and it's going to be not in order, because it's absolutely impossible to remember after all this, what I've lived through. And then I stopped, and I start about writing about the first time when the Germans, who had Hungarians in their army, came into our city. And the first thing here I write, bis 5 Minuten soll ich keine Juden mehr sehen, which means within 5 minutes I don't want to see any more Jews around here. And so on and so forth.
Would you show us your photographs?
Yes. I'll start with, first of all, this is a photograph of my oldest sister. She was beautiful, and this picture, I remember, appeared in a window of a photographer, and it was there for a long time, and I always used to pass by there, and I was very proud of it, proud of her, because she was beautiful on the outside and on the inside. She was just a remarkable individual. Can I show you another one?
Yes, please.
Right. This is the same sister with her husband when she was married. Then I have, this is a picture of my brother. He was wonderful. Very caring and loving. This is a picture of my younger sister and her friends. And these pictures I got from my cousin in Israel, who had them since before the war. She gave them to me. Then I have this. This was probably the last picture that of me in the center and my two girlfriends. It was still the happy times. This picture I got from another friend when I was in Israel, because I did not save, I was not able to save any of the pictures. Everything was gone. These are These are the pictures of the people from Kansas City who had a great influence on me and who were just wonderful. They gave me a start here in the United States, and I feel thanks to them, I am today what I am, because they were just so wonderful, so understanding, being that they suffered themselves. They didn't suffer any personal losses, but they also had to run away from Vienna because of Hitler. And they were just wonderful. We had a wonderful relationship all throughout their lives. This is a cute picture of my son and my grandson when he graduated from preschool. I just love this picture. I thought they both look very cute. Of course, I also have a cute granddaughter. And this is a picture of my son when he was going to the private day school. And I think he looks so much like my grandson, especially on this picture. Even my grandson looked at it once and at another picture. And I said, "Who do you think this is?" And he says, "It's me."
Oh.
This is my diary. Unfortunately, I didn't write too much, but I can just tell you the handwriting is so small because it was almost impossible to get paper. And when I got a hold of this, I thought I'll have so much to write, so I better write small so that they can fit in everything. Unfortunately, I didn't write but a few pages because each time I sat down to write, I was getting so emotional and it was taking so much out of me that I just had to give up. I'm sorry now that I did, but then I told you all this on tape, which I may have forgotten about a lot, but hopefully. And this was just a little calendar where I got some notes in Polish when I left, dates which I would not have remembered otherwise, but there are dates here when I left Germany and when I arrived in the United States. And the conclusion is koniec mojej wędrówki. This is the end of my journey. It was when I arrived in New York. It was the end and the beginning.
There are 2 plaques on the walls that you want to tell us about?
This is a plaque that's called a Shoah Gadol, which I received from our temple for taking care of senior citizens for several years, running a program for them. It's a voluntary program, which I didn't expect, but it was nice to get it.
We have one on the other wall?
Yes, this one was, my husband and I were also honored by our synagogue, which is Bethel in New Rochelle. And we are very proud of it too. We are very active in our synagogue, and it's part of our life, and we are enjoying it. We hope we have contributed to the synagogue, but we feel we have also gotten a lot by being involved. And we are continuing. We haven't stopped. We are still doing it. And plus we are doing a lot of other things. I'm currently a docent at the Hudson River Museum, and I'm enjoying it very much, working with children. And I'm also a volunteer at the New Rochelle Hospital, and of course doing some work for the temple. And being honored again, which I don't like, but I guess it comes with the job. They forced me into it.
We're going to meet your family now.
Oh, would love that.
Could I have 1 second? I just wanted to. And if you were to continue your conversation.
We're going to meet your family now.
I would love that. Would love for you to meet my husband. My son is here with his children. They came in from New Jersey, especially for this. I didn't expect them to, but I'm so happy that they did. It's more than they realize, you know, how happy they made me by coming here today.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm going to take one more shot of that right-hand plaque.
They must be getting. You want to ask them to come up?
Rabin, would you introduce your family to us?
I love to. This is my husband, Ed. We've been married now for, what,
43 or 44.
It's 43 years, going on 44. And this is my son, Michael, and my grandchildren, Jeremy, Sean, and Eve Rachel, my pretty little girl. This is my Schenkite, and this is my Süßkeit, right? That's what Bobby calls you, right? Jeremy, which grade are you in now?
First grade,
First grade. And what school do you go to?
Milford Brook.
And where's that?
I don't know.
In
What
Manalapan?
town do you live? We live in Germany.
No.
Manalapan.
Manalapan, New Jersey. And Evie, do you go to school?
Yeah.
Where?
Preschool.
Preschool.
But you didn't go to school today, did you?
No.
No, why did your daddy bring you here? To
be
take
in
you
a
out of
movie.
school. That's right, to be in a very special video. Do you know why?
No.
Do you know what this video is about?
Mm-mm.
Do you want to ask your bubby what this is all about?
What's it about?
Remember when you asked me this summer if I had a mommy and a daddy? And
No.
what did you ask? Did I tell you? Did you ask me what happened to them? And I told you there was a wicked man who
Yeah.
didn't like Jewish people.
Yeah.
And what else did I tell you? I told you when you get a little bit bigger, I'll tell you more about it. You also asked me that time if that wicked man killed children. You remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. And at that time, when he asked me this question, I just broke down and I couldn't talk to him anymore. And I told him, when he gets older, I'll tell him all about it.
Michael, your mother was surprised that you wanted to come today. Are you surprised that she was surprised?
No?
No. It's been hard to talk about all these years. But it must have been very, very important for you to come to make this trip.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is a big one for my mom. Important to her.
And
this event is significant, making this particular tape.
and for you,
Same.
could you tell us something about the significance of it for you? Sharing this your mother is sharing this with you?
Well, you know, I'm sure she mentioned in the other tape, you know, both children are named after her family. They're kind of preserve the names of her brother
Siblings.
and sister, another sister. And I know that means a lot.
Jeremy.
Jeremy, stop. To have
Come here,
everyone together
sweetheart.
for this.
This is a new story for you. This is not something that's been shared with you.
No.
It has not.
No.
Because
So-
Except through the previous tape she made.
Yeah.
And I don't understand. I think that wasn't everything.
Uh-huh. So as a child, you knew nothing.
Very little.
Very little.
Jeremy, come here.
Specifics.
You did not know specifics.
No.
No, because
But we had the same sort of experience where if I'd ask something, it was a topic that, she wasn't prepared to talk about.
So
So we
your
just-
imaginings were, what did you imagine
Mostly
your
what
mother was keeping?
Well, I went to a yeshiva, private school, and they did a good job of, they showed us the movies and did a lot of teaching about it. So there was information coming from other sources about what happened, generally what happened.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't too hard to
imagine.
extrapolate from that.
Mm-hmm. So this is a very special moment for all of you as a family.
Certainly, I'm very happy and glad that we're together.
I know you too have a story to tell.
I have a story to tell, but it's not a sad story, because while I was running away from the Germans all the time, I was way ahead of them constantly. I was
Yes,
born in
really.
Poland. I went to yeshiva, rabbinical school in Miriam yeshiva. Maybe you haven't heard of it at the time. And as war broke out, the Germans divided Poland into two. Half of it the Russians took over, and half of it the Germans. I was in the Russian part of Poland. Was able at a point to get out of Russia through Lithuania at that time, where in Lithuania there was some freedom, and
Look at the camera.
we tried ways of getting out of Europe. My father was in the United States already then. My parents and my two sisters and a brother were still in Russia. They also came to Lithuania. And there was a time where the Japanese consulate was giving out visas to Japan, provided that they have a destination to get out of Japan, because they did not want to keep any. The Japanese do not want to have any Westerner being as citizens or residents, right residents. The Dutch consulate was willing to give a stamp for their destination. The stamp read just that Curacao does not need a visa, and this was accepted as a destination by the Japanese. I was with the school at that time. Remember, yeshiva were about 200 or so students. The rabbis already at that time too. We were all able to get out there via Trans-Siberian train to Vladivostok, to Japan. In Japan, we were there for a few months. It was just before the war broke out with the United States. So they did not want to have anybody there, so they sent us to Shanghai. I was lucky. I was there with my brother too. We were lucky that we were able to obtain a visa to the United States through my father. And we were able to do it during the 3 months being in Shanghai. So I was in Shanghai only for about 3 months. To get to the United States at that time, to get in was already restricted. You had to go to certain ways. The boats of the American boats were not going in anymore close to there. We went through a boat first to Manila. Over there we were supposed to pick up the United States boat. I landed in Manila Pearl Harbor Day and couldn't continue my my journey. Eventually, when the Japanese came in, they interned me and my brother as a Polish citizen who were part against the Axis at that time. And we were interned together with all the residents there, the American people, Americans, British, Dutch. We were there for about 37 months. Rescued eventually by American paratroopers. I was transferred for a year or so during the internment to another town. Most of them were in the Philippines at the Santo Tomas camp, which is the University of Santo Tomas. I was moved to a small town, Los Baños, for which was rescued by the American paratroopers. That were especially when the Americans, wherever they went, they made sure to rescue first the prisoners or internees. So they rescued us way before they were there yet taking the territory over. They just rescued us, dropping in paratroopers in the camp, taking us out of it.
It's 1945.
In 1945. But therefore, eventually I was able to get into the United States, where I lived in St. Paul for a while. My father was a rabbi there. And then I moved to New York. While being in the Philippines, in the camp, we had freedom there in the camp. The Japanese did not bother us at all. Civilians didn't bother us at all. I was able to go through, learn accounting there, English and French language, Spanish, and the young people. There were a lot of young kids there because all the families those were people that were living in the Philippines. They had schools, they had high schools. We had a lot of freedom there. The Japanese are funny in a way. In Japan proper, they are very friendly, very hospitable. But once they go out of their country at war, they are very miserable. They have no mercy on anybody. But they were not anti-Semitic, because I was not interned there as a Jew, I was interned there as a Pole. There were Jewish people in Manila who were from Germany. None of them were bothered. They were just treated as Germans, not as Jews. Except at the last few months before they were about to lose, they restricted the Jews. The Jews could not go into the main streets. They had to wear a sign that are Jewish. That was only at the end. The Germans were insisting with the Japanese, in Shanghai for instance, they should create crematoriums for the Jews there because there were a lot of German refugee Jews. The Japanese refused it. They had nothing to do with anti-Semitism there. And that's how I came to the United States.
And met me, and I met him.
Michael, is there a message you want for your children, even now, about your parents' experiences, about being a Jew?
Well, when they're old enough, they'll see the tape, and I think that'll do it.
Like now.
When you're a little, just a little older. So I think that's important.
Oh, 6.
You're 6,
When
yes.
you're a little older.
No, 6.
A little bigger than 6.
Yes.
Is there anything else anybody would like to add before we
And
Well, I must
include?
add, I had a very happy life with my wife.
oh, thank
And,
you, thank you.
I was very happy I was able to find a girl like this.
Oh,
We've been there already for 43 years, and we hope to
continue.
continue as long as we can.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Now you can give Bobby a kiss. A hug? No, don't be shy. All of a sudden you are shy?
He's
He's hungry, tired?
Well, no, he's not in a kissing stage these
Oh,
days.
oh, excuse me. How are you, Evie? Are you good?
Eve is tired.
Are you good? Did you have a good trip coming here?
Yeah,
Yes?
took a little while.
It took a little while? Was there a lot of traffic?
Down.
What?
No traffic.
No traffic. Good.
Oh, we had a good trip.
Good. I'm glad. I'm glad. And I'm so happy to see you. I'm so happy that you came.
Yeah, very excited about coming.
Right. And when we get this tape, you'll be able to see yourself in the movies, right, Jeremy?
That too.
You too? Are you hungry now?
Yeah.
All right, we'll go to eat soon. Thank you very much.
Good girl.
Thank you for coming.